Hello, I'm Dr. Housman, and this is Healthiself, a show about health and wellness. And today, as our first guest, we have Ryan Howes, who is a health coach and does a business called Northern Vertical, and also just recently completed a 50-mile run.
Close
to 50 miles, and that was on the new Hills to the Sea Trail.
Correct.
So welcome to our show.
Thank you, good to be here.
It's great to be here. And WBFY, our new community radio station, is hosting our show, and thanks to them, we now have a radio station in Belfast.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, I know. It's exciting. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about your background to begin with. Now, you grew up in Maine.
I did.
In a little town called
Augusta,
big town.
not too far from here.
And my first thought of you would be trying to climb out of your crib when you were really little and doing that over and over again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't have any evidence to support that.
You don't, but I just picture you climbing a lot.
However, my mother did put me in a little backpack when I was a month and a half old and carried me to the summit of Katahdin.
Oh my! And how old are you?
A month and a half.
A month and a half. So you think that might have had a little bit of an influence on your
Yeah, I
and
have a
your
feeling.
desire to want to climb to places? Now, did you go to college, or did you go right from high school into?
I went from high school directly into college at Unity College.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did you end up studying there?
Adventure education, leadership, and adventure therapy.
Adventure therapy. So there is such a major as adventure therapy.
There are a few of them out there.
Wow. And so adventure therapy would be, what would a curriculum be like for adventure therapy?
Well,
Just a whole lot of adventure?
there's definitely the adventuring component, definitely the typical liberal arts classes, and there's quite a bit of education and psychology courses.
So you have to learn how to deal with people while you're taking them on adventures.
You have to learn how to take good care of people.
Right, that's always a good thing. Yeah, because obviously their safety is going to be in your hands.
Sure.
And so before you started college, obviously you had a desire for adventure.
I certainly did. I did a lot of playing with my dog in the woods and a big Siberian Husky.
Ooh.
And we were buds, and we went everywhere and did everything together.
He was your best friend.
He certainly was.
Yeah.
And after that, it was just all about climbing things.
Right. So you really had a sense pretty early on that you wanted to have a profession that involved adventures.
I did.
Wow. And so after you finished school, did you kind of go off on your own, or did you travel, or what was your postgraduate life?
After college?
Yes.
Well, I eventually finished college as a non-traditional student. I took a couple of years off because, as a young, sort of invincible climber, I had a climbing accident. And
So what do you mean by climbing? I didn't think there was anything such as a small climbing accident.
well, when I was 21 years old, in a sort of a former life, as I call it, I used to climb without ropes. And
I mean, technical climbing.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. That has a name to it, doesn't it?
That's called free soloing.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people out there that do it.
Right.
Not
Wow.
a lot of them, become old climbers though.
Oh, you mean because the lifespan of a free climber is not?
It's not very long.
It's not very long.
Yeah.
Kind of like when they jump off cliffs with parachutes and
Correct.
things like that.
Yeah, so I learned my lesson in a way that actually sort of transformed my life at a fairly young age. I was in Camden Hills. I was climbing by myself on St. Patrick's Day, and I fell 40 feet. And
You fell 40 feet,
I did.
which is about the height of this building, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
so, at least.
Now, were you climbing during the winter, or was it, what time of year was it?
St. Patrick's Day, March 17th.
Okay, and you're by yourself.
By myself,
And,
before cell phones.
And what was it, like losing your grip, or did you stumble, or?
It's actually silly. I was about 5 feet from the top. It was a very easy climb for me. But it was a little wet, and so I had my hand sort of jammed in this crack. And when I went to lean back to wipe off my shoe, I got a little complacent in that moment, and just my hand slipped right out. I wasn't thinking.
It slipped out of what you were holding onto. And
I was literally standing on a ledge.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, people often say when they're falling like that, they see their life pass before them
Oh yeah,
very quickly.
very quickly.
Luckily, you hadn't lived that long, so it was a short
Fortunately, my athleticism helped me. Just before I was at the ground, I was able to sort of push my foot away from the cliff and see my landing, and it just happened to land in like the 3 square feet area where I wouldn't get too badly hurt.
Did you think you were going to die?
When I first fell, yes.
Yeah?
I was like, well, this is too far to survive.
Yeah, because it just kept on going and going and going.
Right.
Right, and then you hit the ground.
Hit the ground and landed on my left foot, sort of tried not to have my leg straight and sort of absorb it.
Yep.
And
so you were falling consciously.
Yep.
And you got injured.
Yeah, I tore a lot of ligaments and muscles, but no skeletal damage whatsoever.
No spinal cord or
nothing
on your nerves. And how did you get out of there?
I crawled a mile to the road.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Firefighter saw me, picked me up.
And did you have to have reconstructive surgery?
I didn't. Actually, the physician at Penn Bay Hospital took him a while to figure it out, but basically he and some of those colleagues said that because I was young and healthy that I'd probably make a solid recovery.
Wow.
So I was in a cast for 2 months.
Okay. So it's mostly ligament tears and disrupting the joint on your left knee. Wow. So you said at that point things kind of shifted in terms of changing, like in terms of your attitude or what you did? Or?
I definitely at that point in my life reflected on needing to take calculated risks.
Calculated.
Having very informed decision making.
I see.
Being better prepared. If I was going to climb free solo again at some point in time, what would I need to do? Basically, I decided I wouldn't do that, but it sort of transferred into other areas of my life, especially with adventuring.
So it sounds like that was sort of a turning point.
It certainly was.
In terms of your, like a lesson, and did you feel like you had a second chance?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right. And then what, did you travel after that, or what did you...
Yeah, so I worked for a wilderness therapy program in the Adirondacks for almost a year, and then followed that with another year, another program in Western North Carolina.
In wellness therapy?
Yeah, I was working with adjudicated youth, mostly teenage boys, leading them into the woods for these 30 to 50-day programs.
Wow.
And teaching them wilderness survival skills.
Yep.
And, it was sort of the right time for me because the whole model of this was, or the metaphor rather, was search for self, rescue self. And they experienced some pretty hard times. And I was...
For yourself.
Yeah.
As well as the people you were working with.
Right, so it was definitely pretty spiritual part of their lives, and mine as well as an instructor.
And were these kids that were in trouble as far as with the law, or kids that were from troubled homes, or was it kind of a combination of...
Yeah, a combination of those things. Issues with authority, drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
It was kind of like their first chance. Maybe first and only chance. If they didn't sort of put their best foot forward, they'd go to juvenile hall.
Right, I see. Was this court ordered where they had to be there for different reasons? So you take them out into the woods for 50 days. Yeah,
it depends on how much of a foot forward they wanted to make initially.
Okay.
Some were there for 100 days.
Wow, between 50 and 100.
Yeah, it was a 32-day program that was on average like 50 to 60 days.
And you teach them skills about how to survive.
Yeah, wilderness survival skills.
Right, and then was there counseling involved too, or was that just part of the...
Yeah, so I was usually on an 8-day on, 6-day off cycle with another head instructor. And each time we switched roles, the therapist came in. Yeah, the counselor helped us with, facilitating each student's goals for the week and, supporting us on really how to manage a bunch of kids need a lot of support.
Right, and there's a lot of androgens there too.
Certainly.
Yeah, these are all boys.
Yeah, I did
that want to prove themselves.
I did lead a few co-ed groups, and then that stopped because I decided it was probably wise to keep the sexes separated. Right,
and did you find a lot of transformational things happen when people were out in those situations?
Yeah, hugely.
Yeah,
it's amazing what happens when you are in an environment that is sort of novel. It's far from home. Right. Far from what you've done in the past.
Comfort zone.
Yeah, you're definitely in that risk zone.
Sure.
And you get, support from other people around you, especially really positive support. And for a lot of these kids, it was the first time in their life that they had really experienced that.
Sure. And it sort of brings me to the whole metaphor around being out in nature, being in, I wouldn't say dangerous situations, but situations where you go beyond your typical boundaries, and how that helps human growth. I mean, I do a lot of camping. Mylisa and myself do a lot of outdoor things, and there's certainly an element of nature assisting in that growth process. For yourself, do you find that metaphor, I mean, the whole platform of working with people outside and in situations where they have to push themselves, do you find that that's very satisfying for yourself? And
Immensely so.
yeah, and what do you find happens with people when they're doing things that they've never done before, or things that they're afraid of doing?
Yeah, it's sort of this whole sort of emotional, psychological process that I see, from, oh, I can't do that, to, oh, maybe I think I can do that,
Yeah.
to, wow, I did that,
Yeah.
and
I want to do it again.
yeah, I want to do it again.
They get excited about
and,
it, right?
Depending on what that again is going to be,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like looking at it from a different perspective, like what do I need to do differently to be able to do it better, or, you know, to support the person next to me more.
Right. So you did the wilderness therapy, and what happened after that?
I traveled a little bit. It was right around Katrina, so I went down to New Orleans and helped the Relief Project for a couple months. Went to Austin, Texas, built a cob house, which was really fun.
A cob house.
Yeah, clay, sand, and straw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Out of corn.
No, they just call it cob. And you
Oh, okay.
mix
All right, not corn
clay,
cobs.
sand, and straw together to build the house.
Understand.
And
Okay.
from there, I went to Alaska and worked on a commercial fishing boat for salmon.
Okay.
And yeah, raked up the sea and raked in a bunch of money to go back to school to finish my adventure education and adventure therapy degree at Unity.
Okay. So so you went back to school after taking a little break.
Yep, went back to school, played soccer again. That was one thing that was really important to me when I was, you know, laid up with that cast, is if I was going to be able to climb and play soccer. And
And you recovered.
I made a full recovery, yeah, so
Wow.
this was 2 years later, and made a full recovery. In fact, all the hiking that I did with those kids was what
It helped to rehabilitate you.
Yeah, so I went back to school my last year, and actually I played soccer, didn't have any injuries in my ankle for the first time ever as a soccer player.
Wow. So you actually healed stronger.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
In fact, I thought that was really amazing how just hiking was what made my ankles so much stronger.
Wow.
I think we don't get that sort of side to side
Sure.
movement
Right.
in our ankles.
And balancing over
Yeah.
rocks and
Oh yeah.
yeah, interesting. So you went back to school, finished your degree.
Yeah, I finished my degree, and actually when I had arrived at Unity, I was really excited about wilderness therapy. And so initially I had gone for adventure education leadership, but knowing that I had to go back and finish up a few key courses to even get that degree, I decided to stay for a full year and add on the adventure therapy degree. And then I was also really interested in going to grad school. So right after that, I went to Minnesota State University and got a master's degree in education.
So you went back to school again. You got a
Absolutely.
master's in education.
Yeah.
And did you come right back to this area to kind of get started?
Oh
Or
yeah.
You did.
Yeah, I was fast track too. I pretty much did the program in a year.
Wow.
I was busy guy.
Right, right. And
I've been in this area ever since.
you have. And do you find that you're doing more of the climbing work or the wellness work in terms of nutrition, or
Yeah,
how
so
is your time kind of being allocated at this point?
yeah, so when I returned in 2008, I was guiding full time, and pretty much back and forth between the White Mountains and Mid-Coast Maine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, traveling quite a bit, guiding a lot, and that kind of took a toll. I was traveling abroad too to climb, and it's really one of the big turning points in my life post fall was when I was climbing in France and Spain, and I came down with this bacterial infection, and I was so sick I had to go back home. And eventually, after taking antibiotics and sort of kicking that, I started coming down with some pretty significant issues over time.
Mm-hmm. Some health issues.
I was like approaching 30,
Mhm.
and my body was just deteriorating.
Mm-hmm.
I would get sick all the time. I'd go and climb something that was well within my ability, and I would just injure myself, or I would just fatigue. And lo and behold, that bacterial infection actually never went away completely.
It was a low-grade infection
Yes,
that you
it was.
had. And how did you eventually kick that?
Food.
So diet?
Yeah,
Yep.
so I went on a whole food diet. Initially, it was all about no sugar, no starches whatsoever. Pretty much the easiest way to tell people how it went is what I could eat. I basically just ate vegetables, and I could have 2 very low glycemic index fruits a day, like kiwi, grapefruit. I could have nut butters, but no peanuts because I couldn't have legumes.
Right. Yep.
It just eggs.
And did you find that
protein.
that made a change in terms of your health?
Yeah. So the issue with the the antibiotics was that I was killing all the healthy bacteria.
All the good bacteria, yeah.
And I wasn't putting it back in there. So my immune system was completely shot at that point.
Yep.
And my body was being compromised. And the doctor that I saw said, if you weren't such an active athlete, you would have been couched a couple of years ago.
Right, so were you doing fermented foods too to put good bacteria back in there as well?
At that point, yes.
Yeah, interesting. So you got your health back.
I got my health back, yeah, and then I came back to Belfast to start Northern Vertical a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And as I had a really successful first season, I started thinking, I don't want to have to rely on my body for the rest of my life for work.
Right.
It's what I love. I'm passionate about it. I love sharing these experiences with people. But ultimately, it's health that I'm really inspired by.
Well, and if people need to get in touch with you, what are the best ways to contact you?
Sure. Well, if people are interested in climbing with me, my website is northernvertical.com.
Okay.
Or Ryan at Northern Vertical. And if people are interested in health coaching services, it's ryanhoweshealth@gmail.com.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us on our show, our first show. And we hope to have you back again. And I've learned a little bit more about climbing and what you do.
Thank you very much.
So thank you. So this is the end of our first show, Health Thyself. And I hope you folks have enjoyed it. And feel free to message us with questions, comments. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.